Our readings today should ask us to reflect a little bit about our relationship with God. Who is He in my life? How do I relate to this person of our God who is such a large human being, who is someone that encompasses so much and that we have trouble understanding everything going on in our lives? Our first reading today pushes that point exactly to us, where we see the end of this confrontation that Job is having with God. Job is finally almost at that breaking point, to where he is finally questioning our God, and to the point he is asking, why did you allow this to happen? Why are these things happening to me? And instead of being that comforting person putting his arm around Job, saying everything is going to be okay, instead, God comes to him and says something very out of the ordinary that probably makes him take a step back and reflect a little bit. God comes to him and says, where were you when I did this? Did you put any input in when I made this? It causes Job to step back and reflect of his place in front of God. It should do the same to us, to make us reflect a little bit in our relationship with God. So often we have gotten used to looking at Him as the miracle worker, of the one who grants my wishes almost. But we must remember that He isn't the genie in a lamp that can grant everything exactly when we want it, but that He is something much greater, the fact that He is God. I remember at one point watching a talk that was being done, and the speaker was talking about how great our God was, talking about the creations of this world and reducing it down to how small we really were as humans. This first reading does that for us, in that it shows us all of these great, large things that our God has done, and reminds us that we are small in His sight, but also that we are loved by Him. That is the part about the story of Job that makes this so beautiful, is even in the midst of all of this horrible stuff, Job is getting bet on by God. God uses him and says, I can trust this person. That even in the midst of all the great things I have built, all the great things that have come into being because of me, humanity is something special. And when the chips are down, when the things are going wrong, they can still come to me. We have to have that same will in our lives, to come before our God, to see Him as He is, that He is more than something that we come to for wishes, but that He is in fact our God, and that being as God changes the relationships and helps us to understand how we interact with Him, the things that we do because of Him. God doesn't demand us doing specific things. We do them because we recognize that He is our God. Let our readings today help us come to that understanding and help us see our place, that we are not just small beings in the larger chessboard of a world, but that we are beings loved by our God. But the fact that He is God as well also should be influencing our relationship with Him.